Welcome back, everyone, to Locky Top Sports. Today, we got a special treat for you. Um, American football is over, but now we can get to the real shit. So, Champions League, round of 16 and beyond preview for you today. We got a bunch of the heavy hitters in the sport of soccer and some surprising feisty underdogs. We'll review Champions League today from a betting angle. I would say you don't need to know every player on every team, but you do need to know where the locks are, where the value is. So that's what we'll be previewing you for you guys today. We'll start out maybe with a quick intro, like favorite team over the past like 5 to 10 years, and yeah, we'll start from there. For me, I support Chelsea, Real Madrid, any team Mourinho has coached. Uh, that those are the teams I like. I like a little bit of the counter attack, that kind of football. I also despise tiki taka. I hate Barcelona, so
Mm.
that's where I'm coming from. Roman, do you have any teams that you really like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard not to like Real Madrid. Obviously, beautiful football. But I think we're looking at one of the fan favorites, maybe Tottenham, the OG,
So
the OG fan favorite for from years past. Obviously, to me it's not as much about the team. Like, I don't have like a team that I really support per se, but it is about the teams that I absolutely hate, like PSG, and many others. But and definitely looking to continue seeing the at least some of the domination that the British teams have been putting on. But we a lot of move, as we'll discuss, a lot of movements going on this year. And I wanted to say, I saw this somewhere online, but basically, like, speaking of American football ending and real football beginning, you have what, like, 130 million views for Super Bowl. I think it's like nearly a billion, right, for the Champions League final every year. So it is definitely a huge sport to worldwide. And I think for a lot of the degens that don't know what to do with themselves in the summer and throw themselves into the fiery pits of spring training, or beaver ball, or any of those, or what is that, the XFL, Canadian football, all of that crap. Look, everyone, there is beautiful game out there that is played all throughout the summer, and with the biggest games happening, and it's perfect. And the great thing about it, it's not like NBA. Every single day you have to be paying attention to it. It's kind of once a week, twice a week, you check
similar
in. And
similar to the other, our football, right?
yeah,
And
exactly, yeah.
if you
No,
think
it's
if you think about it, like punters have been betting on soccer for 100 years before they started NFL. So
yeah,
all
definitely. I
these
mean,
things are very regulated, not some Illuminati, but not too much.
yeah, and it's also very good for your bookie balance management, right? You have a lot of games, on Sunday. You'll have games on Sunday, 6 7 a.m., right? You can go to sleep on Saturday, put in those bets, wake up to a nice healthy balance. You listen to us, listen to our picks for the season, and you'll have a nice stack ready for you. You can fire it, Sunday morning, 6 7 a.m. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to spend your whole day sweating. You just
Yeah,
put in the bets at night, wake up to a nice, fresh, big black number down there in the top right corner.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't need to bet Hawaii at 12 if you can bet Chelsea at 6 a.m. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And hey, if you want to, if you are, wherever you are, maybe you're in Vegas, right? I mean, you're going home after, you know bad run at the tables and just stop by a sports bar. There it is. 6 a.m., 5 a.m. It's the games are on. You can. How many times have we went right for
Yeah.
6 7 a.m. to a bar in New York City, completely packed, with Chelsea fans. So it's a great sport. I think we here at Lucky Top, as we do a lot of these supplementary type of shows, we'll try to bring the engagement and the fun into what promises to be not a quiet summer, but a really busy and fun summer of sports.
Yeah, so I wanted to start off with like the full field and the odds to advance. I just think that there's a lot of value here, and I think that it can be really easy to get into traps of betting. Public teams. I know maybe the U.S. public knows these teams, but I think there's some value in some of these matchups for sure. And there's also some no doubters. Real Madrid right now, I think they're the top 3 team in all of Europe. I would probably argue Man City, Real Madrid, or Liverpool, probably top 3. Um, they got a bunch of new kids. They sign old guys, they work. They sign new guys, they work. They find like random French and Japanese 12-year-olds. It all works. They got the scouting angle, they got the funds. Potential to get Mbappe next year. I think we'll touch upon that a little bit later, but I think that's a really easy um, consideration to take. Real Madrid minus 300, maybe throw it in a couple parlays. It doesn't have to be something you pile 2K into, but definitely I think that's definitely live. So, Roma, I'm assuming you think the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm trying to think of a good cross sports reference here for Real Madrid to get people to understand what we're talking about here. I mean, I hate always bringing up the Miami Heat. I really do. I really hate it because and they haven't won as much. The Miami Heat has not won as much as Real has, but it is that type of a team that season in, season out is rock solid. Like transfer portal, players leaving, players coming. I mean, even post Ronaldo, right? I mean, like post all these massive departures, they continue to dominate, and it's very important. I think maybe I don't know, like how the people watching, right? How familiar they're going to be with this Champions League concept necessarily, right? But these are teams across Europe that play each other from teams in other leagues, right? So top team in the Spanish league will play, top teams in French league, etc. Right?
Yeah, it's a 2-game series, guys. So you play one at your house, one away, and you combine those goal totals. So let's say you 2-1 at home, and maybe you lose 0-2 away. Your total score is aggregate. So you have those 2 wins in this case and 3 losses. So you would lose. They kind of went away from this concept of away goals counting for more. So now they just go to a tiebreaker on the second leg, but this is a first leg kind of situation.
Yeah.
And also, like when you're betting the second leg, knowing the score of the first leg is very important.
Yeah, right? Of course.
So these games are not in isolation, and you got to remember it's a 2-game series. So continue on, Roman.
Yeah. So I just think like there's going to be a lot of like cross league. I think that's maybe where it's a little bit difficult sometimes to understand. But each team has their own league, their own national league competition, right? And these are the type of teams, the best teams from their individual leagues. But they play each other. So there's a lot of, and that's also where a lot of the, I think the betting angles where they really open up. Right, because you can really study the injuries, the travel schedule, right? For example, this going playing away or at home, that does matter based on like what each team's schedule has been up to that point and after that. So, and I think the reason I'm saying all of this is that Real Madrid, year in year out, always manages to do incredibly well in these international Champions League competition and just take out all the other top teams. I think it also helps that the Spanish league being well, the English league being a very competitive, very difficult league,
Mhm.
teams tend to be a bit better there, right? If you think about like NBA, whenever you have the West really stacked, right? The teams are like a lot better in the West versus the East, right? So this is something I think similar where, and why you've seen, for example, PSG, the French, one of the top like French teams, right, underperform consistently year in year out because they don't play anybody. They have no one in that league whatsoever, and they're just basically a shitty team. But it's unlike Real Madrid, who are played a very tough Spanish competition. It is a tough competition. It's probably the second toughest league after the British league, and they always deliver. So I think it's an incredible team to support. They have great fans, great fan base.
It's
And
global. It's global.
it's global, and it would be definitely good value pick. So let's go down the list. What else we have in there?
Yeah, so we got Man City. I think this is like a foregone conclusion. Copenhagen, you got to respect them because they come from a very small. They come making this league from Denmark. It's almost like I don't know, like some D League team or G League team making it to NBA playoffs. Like that's kind of like
Yeah.
what you can compare it to. They're the best team right now in the world. They won all three English competition, two English competitions last year, and the Champions League. That's called the treble. They did it last year. They had their two star players injured for most of this year, but they're now back. So funny they come back for Champions League like right around that time. Nice job, Pep. Making sure that they're like rested ahead of this run, and it is going to be a huge run for them because Man City has to compete with Arsenal down here and also another team, Liverpool. So they're watch out for those matchups too, right? Because sometimes when you're considering this, like what's more important for the team, is it winning the Champions League or winning the league, right? For example, for Man City, right, like during the week's games, like they had matches this Saturday, and now
Mhm.
they're gonna have to play again. So maybe they took out some players for last week's games ahead of this matchup, and it also carries over into next week when are this coming Saturday. They might not have to play their elite players, so maybe you can take the plus on their weak games straddling the Champions League. So that's something common throughout this whole thing. Next matchup we got is Lazio Bayern Munich. I think Roman, you've seen a lot of Bayern, so
Yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely
yeah,
my other favorite, obviously favorite team. Very, very, very strong. This is a great matchup. I think this is probably more. Looking at it, I mean, this looks on paper most competitive matchup. I think of everything we have coming up for this round. Both teams being incredibly good. But Bayern, again in the wake of the departure of Lewandowski, has been still a powerhouse. It's very interesting how certain teams just are able to plug the hole. Whoever leaves, next man up. But there's like 10 men up, from the youth league or from the transfer portal, etc.
yeah, they got
Young
Harry.
guys, fresh legs, and you know. And the other thing too is that in soccer, I think it's very important to understand that soccer is similar a bit to basketball. That you have two sides of the ball, right? You have the defense and the offense on the field at the same time. So, but unlike basketball, where you sort of have a lot of like role players, in soccer you have a lot of almost like, I was like zones, right? Zones of
Yeah,
influence, and you can have extremely strong set of players in the midfield or even on defense that just first of all, they are impossible to penetrate by
yeah,
the opposing offense, but then they are also capable in creating a situation known as a situation where the goals actually do end up happening. Kind of a counter, right? That we call in soccer, or like in basketball we call like a fast break, right?
mhm,
Where the offense loses the ball, and then those guys, those defenders, they have to be able to sprint and pass and see the entire how the next 10-20 seconds of the play will unfold, and the field is huge, and they have to like see it and do the right passes, and that's what sets up the players on your offense for success. So that's where I think we you need to look at, and where a lot of the times the betting value comes in is not by looking at who has the best striker, or maybe who has the best goalie, but who has the best midfielders, right? Who has the best defenders? And definitely, I think Bayern is one of those teams that is just always able to plug at Real Madrid too, right? Obviously,
Yep.
Are able to put extremely solid players, very highly paid players, in those positions. So we're gonna see some good soccer there. Lazio is obviously has some of the best ball strikers there, right?
Yeah. So these next 4 sections I'll highlight here. I would call these upset alerts. Like, I don't think you would do that bad on your balance taking the plus on any of these matchups. So I'll go through all 4. PSG Sociedad. I think that's a trap.
Yeah,
That
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
sounds like a huge trap. Again, as Roman said, like PSG is kind of like Michigan in Big Ten East, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're there by themselves. They don't really play anybody until maybe Champions League when they have to play Ohio State. That's basically what's happening right now. Sociedad, lot of very interesting football they play. I like their manager. He seems to get the best out of players, and it's like Sociedad is like a good farm system team. So maybe you could consider them as like Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Like they have the draft picks and they do very well with getting the draft picks. Very similar to what we see out of PSV and Dortmund. PSV, Dortmund, these are notorious teams that other teams cannibalize off of. Like they develop and they sell their players out for 80, 100, 120 million euros. So it's really an interesting like sort of farm system kind of concept. But Roman, do you agree with me on PSG? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, PSG is having horrible year yet again. I mean, it is a team that is just truly despicable in what it is and what it stands for. I'm sorry, there's any PSG fans here. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I had a good friend of mine, a French guy, my old coworker, that was absolutely raving when PSG signed their big three, and they're like, "Well, they're gonna beat fucking everybody, right? They have all the greatest players in the world, just paying the money, putting them together." It is
that was Messi, Neymar,
Mbappe,
Mbappe, right?
right? So what happens? Nothing happens, right? Not only nothing happens, all these players have left, right? So the team consistently mortgages its future on the ability to just come up with money, because they're sponsored by the great oil nations of the world, and with that cash they just pay whatever player wants to get paid whatever they want, and they get these players, and as the saying goes, there's only one ball. They're not well coached. There's a lot of bad personalities always on those PSG teams, and there's always just all this drama, and they haven't won shit. They haven't won anything. On paper having the best players ever, to be on the same team. You would think. I mean, they were having an equivalent of like LeBron and like Jordan and like Magic, like on the same team, right? You would think, right, that team would just win nonstop, right? And maybe maybe those guys would, right, because they have good ethic. But in soccer, there's a lot of prima donna personalities there, and I wouldn't say that about Messi, but definitely we're seeing a lot of it from Neymar, Mbappe, and so on. And so look, Sociedad, I think definitely, yeah, very scrappy team. I think you look at their current standing in the
public also. Nobody knows, like the betting public sees PSG and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like your friend.
But this always happens, right? This always happens. This always happens in soccer. Like upsets in soccer are very, very real. They are very, very real because of it's a game of momentum. Anybody can score at any point, and once your game plan changes on the field, it could become quite difficult. And the team that wants it more can win. Team can get lucky. Team can win. And I think looking at Sociedad too, they don't have the nicest record in their league today. But you look at it a bit deeper, right? They have 9 wins, 10 draws, right? Only 5 losses. I mean, you're looking at other teams, right? Like who has really less losses than them, right? It's Barcelona, right? It's Real Madrid, right? Atletico Bilbao, but out of the 20 teams there, just having 5 losses is good. That means this team knows how to win. That means this team knows how to defend, right? 32 goals scored, 22 goals scored against. That's pretty good. It's pretty good when you look at and again, you have Real Madrid there, you have Barcelona there, Atletico Madrid, right, in the same league. So this is not the greatest. This is not like the powerhouse of La Liga, but this is a solid, absolutely solid, rock solid La Liga team that definitely can do it. It's not. This isn't a long shot like Rutgers, Michigan. Like no, this is a very much a team that absolutely can cause it. And I think PSG is the team that allows these things to be their downfall each and every year. Each and every year they lose when they shouldn't lose. They lose in ways that they shouldn't be losing, and many reasons for that. But I think mentally they're not. PSG isn't there. This is probably like mentally the worst year. Let's talk about Mbappe, right? I mean, there's a lot of questions about where their star player Mbappe is going to end up. Since Messi left, right? There is not much going for that team. They thought they were going to put together a powerhouse, big three, whatever, and they failed. It's very difficult to achieve that in soccer. You have to have a truly spectacular player like Ronaldo. But even then, let's take Real Madrid and Ronaldo, right? Who was there with him, right? Benzema, right? Ramos, right? Modric, Marcelo, all these guys in these other in the positions. I look, those are not strikers, right? Those are the guys that allowed Ronaldo become who he is. It's like being Travis Kelce, right, and just catching passes from Pat Mahomes.
I have a couple points on this for Mbappe, man. So he's been so spoiled by the oil, oil. I think
spoiled oil.
Spoiled oil. So basically, what's happening is it's been his dream to play for Real Madrid, and he's been kind of teasing it for 3 years, 4 years. He wants to leave PSG, and he wants to play at Real. And now he's showing up with his agents that are about to make cash off on this kind of offer. He wants to make the same kind of money that he is at PSG, have the same kind of perks. And frankly, Real Madrid, they don't pay for things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's used to, being able to negotiate against nobody and always get these sweetheart deals. But frankly, Real Madrid, I think right now is saying like, hey man, this is the best we can offer you. We can offer you like $40 million a year or around that. That would make you the highest player in Europe, paid player in Europe. But you can't have, $100 million signing bonus that, these oil guys can offer you. And really, it might be that, PSG, he might have to return back to PSG just because he wants to make that kind of money. Real Madrid will be fine regardless with him or without him. And he just doesn't have that kind of leverage. And he's kind of like, I always think about this internet meme, like, congratulations, you played yourself. When it comes to Mbappe, congratulations. Like, I think you've played yourself. Like, this is not the team that you can like bully around with your agent. It's not going to work. And it almost seems like you have two options, right? Stay at PSG, take a little bit of a pay cut to be a Champions League winner at Real, or third option is go real oil, direct inject it into your veins. Go to Saudi, man. Go make $1 billion a year if you want to do it. They will pay it, right? I'm just thinking about it, right? Like Saudi's probably two biggest targets right now are Mbappe and Mohamed Salah. Like they would add another set of zeros for those. You'd be like, okay, you're now the king of Saudi Arabia.
Dude, yeah, everybody, speculating on oil price. I mean, they're just gonna put the oil prices, $5 more a barrel, and there you go. Like you guys will know, it's not inflation. It's not the Joe
It's not Joe
Biden.
Biden.
It's not. Like whenever gas prices go back to $4 at the pump, go see where where Salah and Mbappe are playing. If they're in the Saudi league, you know why? Because they gotta pay him the. But funny, I mean, but interestingly enough, it's just if they keep the tap open for a week, covers those salaries anyway. So yeah, but look, that goes back to say, the PSG is the type of team that always dealing with this, and it's hard to win. I mean, for us who have watched soccer enough to understand that, the team chemistry, the team dynamics, the team leadership, the team captain, it matters. Like I think in a lot of American sports, like, oh, team captain, like what does that mean? It means a ton. It means a lot in soccer. And the reason why Real Madrid has won so many championships was because of the team dynamic they had. They had this all those guys, like the last time they won, I mean, they were so old, right? We were so old, but they were together and they were crushing. They're like the Spurs, right? Like just getting older, but because of the good coaching and the good team ethics, just keep winning. And PSG has none of that. And all these conversations about money and transfer and this and that ruins the team. And that's why this team is so liable to just be knocked out. They will be knocked out. Take it from us here. They will not win Champions League. They will not. They will lose.
It's not this round. It's the next round.
Yes, and each round they'll be underdogs, right? Oh, sorry, each round they'll be favorites, right? So there will be an upset where they lose 100%. And so, you have to look at it, but, you just take it. I mean, take it every time, right? I mean, Real Sociedad, good opportunity to do that already, with everything that's going on.
Yeah. So the next two matchups I want to talk about, probably my votes for probably the most evenly matched matchups here. You have Inter Milan versus Atletico Madrid. That's Atletico Madrid is always there in the semis, quarters. So I wouldn't mind putting this plus 110 down. I think you can also parlay that. Like I think that's a pretty good value pick. They have experience. And again, I think this Napoli-Barcelona is probably the most mispriced matchup I see here. Napoli was in the finals last year, guys. And you're getting plus 125. That whole team has stayed together for the most part. And you're facing a Barcelona team who is really struggling. They're trending down. They've kind of been messed up ever since the Messi, Suarez, Neymar kind of trio left. And, they are in probably the biggest financial difficulty of the entire field here. They just owe Messi so much money. They can't pay for anybody else. They can't attract top talent. They did get Gundogan from Man City, and that's probably been a good signing for them. But outside of that, I really don't understand this pricing. I think this should be more of a pick. So I would suggest Napoli there. And I think
absolutely. Yeah. That's a great analysis and great pick. Barcelona has not been able to recover. They will at some point recover, but they just have not been able to get back to their prime.
Yeah. And I think we end off here with Porto, Arsenal. Really, Arsenal's hot, man. I hate saying this because this is my mortal enemy in Premier League. But you saw what they did to West Ham this week, 6-0. They're ready to go. They're playing really good football, offense and defense wise. I feel like they finally have a defense with Saliba, Declan Rice. And also, they have very creative midfield. So that's what you need. Roman talked about it earlier, but really that's what you need to make it against, these top teams is midfield play. So that rounds out the real matchups here. We'll take a look at the overall odds, and then we'll go to individual game level. What did we see amongst the board for this next coming weeks? By the way, these will play out over the next 2 weeks. Tuesday and Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday around 2 p.m. Eastern, you should have your bets in. So just keep in mind you're not betting something at 8 p.m. It's going to be during your work week. Fun sweats to close out the day.
Yeah, everybody absolutely, and everybody like New York area, etc. I mean, you hit up the pub for lunch. Great thing about soccer, it's not going to take you 3 hours, right? It's a 90-minute game. You'll be in and out of the bar, and it'll be quick. So very, very good thing to do at lunchtime. 2 p.m. Eastern. Just go there.
All right, so these are the overall odds to lift the trophy. We got Man City plus 187. I don't really see any value there. I would say watch a couple games, and then maybe by semifinals, that's the point where you would consider Man City. But you want to see this whole drama kind of sort itself out. Some of the other odds here, you're seeing Bayern Munich at 400, Real Madrid plus 550, Arsenal plus 550. I think these are your values. I'm not saying that Arsenal will win it. I'm not saying Real would win it either, but that's where I'm starting to think like, okay, that would make sense. PSG plus 1200. This is telling you that the market understands what PSG is, right?
Yeah.
Top
Absolutely.
team in the French league, but 12-1. It's not going to happen. Inter plus 1600, Atletico plus 2500. I'm just skipping Barcelona here. Like I just can't see it. And then you have all these, kind of other matchups. I don't think that will go. We'll not need to look at anything below this level. So, 35.
Yeah, but look, I mean, look, Man City. Yeah, I don't think you necessarily want to, lock all your money into Man City plus 187. But I do like. I have my reservations about Arsenal. And just because recent history is not favorable to them, right? And it's yet another year where we have high hopes for Arsenal. I mean, we can go over like this team's histories like for hours, right? But the cliff notes here is that Arsenal, for whatever reason, just seems to let you down.
Yeah, I think also it's very important to point out that Arsenal, Man City, and Liverpool are in a huge fight for Premier League. So there will be a choice that some of these teams have to make. Like, do I want to win the Champions League or do I want to just win the Premier League? Arsenal, based on what I know, they want the Premier League title. They haven't had it in 20 years. It's a huge issue for them. They're going to do their best to win that, and that might hinder their Champions League future. But if they can get that done, it'll all be justified, right? Like no more memes, Arsenal. They put the arse in Arsenal, that kind of thing. That won't be there anymore. So yeah, just to look at all the odds here, I really like the plus 550s, and maybe Atletico Madrid plus 2500. That's something that, like, if you want a long shot type of bet, that looks okay.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I also do like, I think of all those, if we were to give out like legitimately, let's just go and fire this, right? Like, I think Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, I think here are very good choices. Again, Arsenal, yeah, like it's hard. Like I agree, that's such a good point. I think about their current standing, right, neck and neck with Man City and Liverpool in the standings for Premier League, for their home league, right? And it's going to be very hard, I think, for all of those teams to really balance that against the Champions League trophy. So I think you have to consider. You definitely have to consider that. Real is locked to win their home league. Bayern, same thing. So we have. I think those are guys that are not going to worry about league play. They're going to rest their players when the time comes, and they're going to come in and just with the goal of winning each and every match they have on the Champions League. So I think those are good value bets to take, and they absolutely have a cakewalk. Both of them have a cakewalk, I think, in the round of 8. So we have to round of 16. So we have to take them.
All right, so you're getting a live look into how the sausage is made. This is my bookie. So we have all the odds for these games that we just previewed. I'll kind of go through and see what kind of value I can offer for you guys here for this game. Man City, Copenhagen. I hate -2. That's a lot. You have to win by 3 games. I mean, 3 goals. Like that's so much.
I think it's no brainer. It's a no brainer. And really, I mean, just take the over 3
Yeah.
as
If
well.
you want to bet -2, you might as well go ahead and bet either the total or the team total. I think that makes more sense because you have to get there to hit your over.
See, this is what really almost like worries me is I feel like this line like I wish it was higher, right?
If it was
Because
2.5, you'd be
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, like let's look at like again Manchester. The nice thing about Man City and any of the top British teams is they play in the Premier League, right? And they play all these other great teams. So their stats are really solid, right? It's like SEC, right? So Man City this season, 56 goals for 25 against, right? I mean, just think about that, right? Like they're pretty much winning every game 3-0, like 3-1 type of thing, playing Premier League teams, right? Copenhagen. I mean, they're not. They I don't know where they would even rank necessarily in the Premier League. So this could be a little bit of a gift here. I think this could be, and you know what I love here too is first half. With the perhaps is the other play. Just take like look how juiced it is, right? -65. I think a good value here is over 1.5 first half. It's probably 2-0 by half, 3-0 by half. All the scoring is going to come early here. It's going to be and once the scoring starts, you're going to see goal after goal after goal. Even if it's 0 like 0-0 at 30th minute, it might end up 3-0 by half, and then you don't need to worry about it anymore.
And then you have a very spicy Deej play here.
Oh, team total.
First half team total too.
Yeah. These are things that you can get. These are the great things you can get in soccer. These are not as degenerate as like all alternate. Very, very, very important to understand. These aren't like alt lines in baseball or alt lines in hockey where it's so freaking random. These are very solid like things you can do. And yes, it's more risk on them, but I think it's a lot less risk on these plays than what the market offers you. Like it's very likely going to be 3-0 at half. Like it's just a very likely thing.
This over 1.5 plus 130 is that just jumped out at me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think
even if Copenhagen scores first,
then that's locked. Yeah, then that's locked. I mean, like, yeah, if Copenhagen scores there, so like, yeah, like that's So I think that's a good one. That's nice. You only have to sweat it for 45 minutes. But the way these games are played, it's look at Man City's like score sheet. Like it's 3-0 by half a lot of the times.
So
and Copenhagen's in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's sick about my bookie is
second half.
He has second half lines now. I would call him an elite bookie for having this. Like that's wild. I also like this over one. And look at the juice here compared to here.
Right, but that's so interesting, right? It's -135 over 1.5. So like they're saying it's going to be two scores for Manchester City. I mean, like over 3. Just I think any over in this game is a good play.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know how much Copenhagen is going to score. Let's look at them. Let's look at them real quick. What they do at home.
Yeah, and keep in mind this is in Denmark, right? We don't know much about these leagues. Table wise, I don't think any of us like watching this podcast would like be a Denmark league fan, but yeah, we can quickly take a look.
So we can quickly take a look. They're in third place, but look, they are 34 goals scored, 21 against. Not much better than any other team up there. And again, like it's 34 goals scored against absolute crap. That
Doctors
there's
and
no.
lawyers and plumbers.
Yeah, definitely. And even looking at their head-to-head recent form, not that great. Losing. You're not going to see Manchester City like even lose to anybody in in the Premier League. I mean, Copenhagen just recently losing to Sparta Prague 2-0, right? I mean, they can get scored on. They can get scored on, and they will be scored on. And look, I mean, 34 goals for. I mean, they can score too. So I think the over here is a good,
Yeah.
solid play.
Okay, so moving on to Real Madrid. One thing that screams out to me is under 3, 1.5. Under 3 minus 125. I don't think that Real Madrid is built to put 4-0 on you. They recently did to Girona. But Leipzig is a good team. Like, I don't want to touch this spread. It looks fishy.
Yeah.
Looking at this, they're only, they're giving you plus 115 for ML. That's a sign to me that Leipzig is here to play. Maybe, maybe you want to get frisky, pop this draw, because it is Real Madrid away. They're not as good, away as other teams. And Leipzig, pretty decent German league team. I would say they're top 5 in German league. German league is not a farmers league as bad as it used to be.
Nah.
They got, Leverkusen, and I know you talked about Bayern Munich earlier, but Leverkusen is on top. They just smoked Bayern Munich 3-0. And there's a joke that Harry Kane went to Bayern Munich and Leverkusen just got the call and said, pump it. Because they're not going to allow this guy to get a trophy. So I'm just a little bit scared on this as a Real Madrid fan. These lines do not look encouraging. I wouldn't say that it's going to be 3-2, 3-1 kind of game. Maybe if you want to bet Real Madrid, just go for the over 1.5 team total. I think that would be where I would head for this. And yeah, maybe a little both teams to score. I could see 2-1. I could see that kind of shit playing out for Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, tough. I mean, a little tougher to pick there because especially it's an away game, but very tough, very very tough. But you said they have injured players coming back, right? Is that the case, right?
For Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not really like premier players. Like right now, the player on Real Madrid who's took over the Spanish league is Jude Bellingham. He's an English player.
Yeah, we know.
Nobody expected him to be as good as he is, and he's really taken over the team. They have a bunch of youth around them now. They got rid of their old superstars, and now they found new French 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, perhaps that's part of it too. But I mean, I have a lot of trust in Real Madrid. Maybe on the road it's going to be a little more difficult. Maybe they're going to be a bit more defensive here, which is why, the spread is tough. But look, I mean, Leipzig is not the Leipzig of a few years ago. I mean, this Leipzig team is very sus. I mean, fifth place in German, but it doesn't look very good. Their recent form, and nothing looks really that great about them. But I'm okay with your predictions here.
So that was tomorrow's matches. For Wednesday's matches, we got Bayern and Lazio and Real Sociedad, Paris Saint-Germain. Bayern here, I think a safe play is over 1.5 team total. They seem to be, scoring at least 2 goals most of the time. You see their goal totals in German league, their over-unders are at 4. They're not at 3 anymore. They know that they score. So I think that's where I'd go here. This is very fishy for PSG, right? Look at this. Minus 150 only. They're supposed to be minus 175 to lift, right? So
yeah.
And again, look at this over under. This is telling you that they know that this is going to be a very competitive game. I might say frisky tie here, maybe 1-1 tie. That seems like what could happen. Yeah, those are my thoughts on that game.
Well, Real Leipzig. If we're gonna go, tie hunting here, Real Leipzig. It's a great thing to do in soccer. To bet on some ties. I mean, there could be very well a few. I think those plus 300 on ties is a pretty nice little sprinkle for all of those games really look like
Yeah,
they
give me
could
half a
end
unit on
tie.
a tie and a couple of
Yeah,
units.
half unit on all those ties, or fuck it, parlay all the ties, right? Just go fucking full tie degen. Just your boys will have a lot of respect for you if you do that. But look, just take the money line. Real. I mean, it's in Paris, which is tougher to pick. But look, yeah, the atmosphere is going to be good. People always, the fans always show up. Um, but yeah, I think or even +1. I mean, look at the +1. Look at the juice there, -145. I mean, there's just no. I think a tie here. Yeah, tie would be good.
Yeah.
Tie would definitely be good. Um,
Okay, so we got these are next week's game, next Tuesday. We got Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan. I really like this plus half. Oh,
yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
So
Atletico is very good early rounds. Always very good early rounds.
And then for Dortmund, PSV, I kind of like this over. PSV also very attacking team. Dortmund is the king of attack. They're always scoring 3 goals, so I like this over. I also like both of these team totals. This is that's a sick thing about soccer is you can really smash the over. We have
Absolutely,
a friend
yeah.
Thomas who does this stuff, and then he'll watch the game, do some alternate live overs. Like he might do 4.5 or 5.5 for this game.
The great thing about the over in soccer, it can come in the first 20 minutes, and you just you're just waiting for the thing to cash. I mean, so yeah, a lot of these overs are very good, and and even then, like in the end of the game, the over is never dead in soccer. It's even less dead than it is in baseball. It can always come in on the 90th minute. You can get 2 goals on the 90th minute.
90 plus 11.
90 plus 11. Like the under in soccer is a very difficult bet.
Yeah. So
If you really want to sweat it and you take like whatever you mentioned, right, the under 3 or whatever, right, you are just sweating the entire 90 minutes really, really hard, right? Because at any point they can score, and that's like one goal, like it's criminal, right? For your under over.
and it's also who scores, right? If the underdog scores, they're gonna abandon defense. The favorite's gonna abandon defense.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's tough. So the unders are tough. The overs are a lot easier, and when you have good opportunities for over, you gotta hammer them.
Okay, so we got Porto, Arsenal, and Barcelona, Napoli. We gotta wait on these. I don't want to give you a pick for them yet because you need to know what's happening in the league.
Yeah, follow the the TikTok, IG, everything, and we'll definitely post all these. All these will be posted absolutely for the fans.
This is next Wednesday, so you have some time. I'll probably post my picks here on Twitter. But these are very, very fishy lines. Like, look at this. Like Arsenal -125 from -0.5. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
but man, like that's the thing. Like, I mean, like since we're done with the picks, right? Let's like a little bit of shit talking, right? I mean, like Arsenal, they have underachieved. They are extremely underachieving team. I mean, like you said, 20 years, no cup, right? Always the butt of the joke. I don't see any reason to look otherwise. And these lines, I mean, they show that, right? Look at the difference, right, between Arsenal playing Porto and Man City playing Copenhagen. I mean, is Porto Copenhagen like what would be the line Porto Copenhagen, right? It'd probably be like PK. I mean, like you don't know who's going to win that game.
right.
It could be anybody, right? You just probably give like like a bit of juice to the home team. But you see the difference, right? Like, and to say that these two, and then to say that these two teams are on equal footing, I don't really see it. I think Arsenal again going away. I don't know what they're gonna do. Um, and this, if they win this game 3-0 or 4-0, it's going to be the easiest pick you could have made, because yes, they are currently one of the top ranked teams in the strongest soccer league in the world. They're going away to play some random, not random, but some pretty sus team, and the line is -1.5, -125. You have to ask yourself, like, is that really just a gift here?
Yeah. Yeah, for this last matchup, Barca Napoli, I want to introduce our American viewers here to what I would call the perfect tie setup. Plus 157 for Barca, plus 155 for Napoli. PK and PK. PK means like basically if you will push on a tie, and if you have the PK of the side and you win, you win. But look at this, guys. Like they don't know, right? This is basically saying like, hey, I don't know who's gonna win. So in this case, draw plus 250. That's very good. That that definitely jumps out to me. So we basically just reviewed all these matchups, and our final topic for today is kind of a new thing that they're trying to introduce
Oh boy.
in soccer. And you guys are familiar with red cards. That's a straight ejection from the game. You lose a player. Yellow card is, hey, it's kind of like a technical foul in basketball, right? You need two to get ejected out of the game, and it's usually for like a bad, egregious foul. That's not like a normal foul. There's a new card that's coming in. It's receiving a lot of pushback already. It's called the blue card, and what this is basically like yellow card plus. So it's combining hockey and soccer here. You get a blue card and you are out for 10 minutes in the game. So it's like a penalty box in hockey. A lot of these leagues are trying to go, it's been suggested by FIFA. I think they're just fucking around, honestly. Like that, this is crazy to me. This is a new introduction for soccer purists. They're going to hate it. And this is the first card that's been introduced in 54 years. So 1970, they introduced red and yellow card. And now 2024, they're trying to introduce blue. A notable tournament that's trying to pick it up is the FA Cup in England. So that's like one of their side quest cups. And also rumors are MLS is trying to pick it up and put it in by 2025. Obviously, this is just America trying to be woke with this blue card. It sounds pretty woke.
Why is it blue?
Okay, so they were saying they needed to be different than red and yellow. And they're saying that they originally wanted to make it orange, but they're saying that orange is too close to red. So they don't want people to the referee to mistakenly give someone a red when they wanted to give it.
Oh, that would be something.
So, that's why they're going with blue. And yeah, it stacks like a yellow card does. So if you have a blue and a yellow, you're out. It's a red card.
But then it's the same as a yellow, right? So this is what
it's yellow plus because you have to leave the pitch for 10 minutes, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I think I want to know. I look, in general. There's a lot more complexity to it, right? Like one big thing is like, why do you get this card? Right, you don't get it for the same things you get the yellow card for, right? You get it for stupid shit like arguing with the ref. And so when is the so you? It's very much a deciding in soccer. Taking away a player for 10 minutes. I think 10 minutes is egregious. First of all, I would have definitely given it 5, maybe less. Because 10 minutes of 9, it's ridiculous. I mean, teams can definitely stage a massive attack in those 10 minutes. That's huge.
Dude,
that's huge.
Imagine you get it in the 85th minute.
I mean, that's exactly the thing, right? So now you're gonna have all these stupid situations where you're gonna be like, well, would they have won if the guy wasn't taking out? We was taking out for a good reason, not a good reason. Like I think that's another thing too, right? Like for example, like you said, maybe you suspend that card in the last last quarter, right? Like, last 15 minutes onwards, you suspend that use of that card entirely. That maybe the card can only be used for 5 minutes at a time, and then it has to be and then I would like it to be very specific as to what it's used for. In soccer, unlike in like, I understand like sort of the purpose of it, because I think the real purpose of it, maybe this is my understanding of it, but the real purpose of it is as follows. In soccer, unlike in the NFL, getting a yellow card is a really big deal. Because if the player does another foul, any sort of foul, and the yellow card comes out, he's out of the game for the rest of the game. And like I said, it's a humongous issue to not have that player there. It's so difficult to plug those holes, especially if it's a good player that goes out. Then, so what happens in the games, right? A lot of times the referee will not give any cards for a while. And the first time a yellow comes out, or even a red, it comes out as kind of a cumulative result of fouls committed up to that point. So the referee will like, yeah, exactly. So the referee will typically like blow a whistle, tell the player, like, don't, that was, because the referee can stop the play, right, and give the ball to whatever team against which team a foul was committed without giving a card, right? So like a foul can be committed without a flag or like a card being shown to a player. So if a player is like excessive on defense, right, meaning not committing like a straight up like a red card type of foul, but just like, he's hitting guys, he's doing things, right? He does it for 40 minutes, and so on, and the ref will come to him and be like, hey, look, Ramos, like, this is the 5th, 6th time you're doing this, right? You do it again, I'm going to give you a card.
Ramos is Draymond Green's for new soccer.
Right. So what is Ramos going to do, right? Well, that's a bit of a this is what actually happens, right? That's a bit of a poker game too at that point. Then he's going to say, okay, well, sure, he told me this, but is he actually going to do it, right? Is the ref actually going to give me a yellow? Because the Ramos is going to say, okay, this referee, there's billions of fans watching, right? Millions of fans watching, and soccer fans are crazy, right? Like for a wrong given like card, they can take down the stadium. It has happened. The match can go like they can stop the match, right? Because they start throwing smoke bombs.
Match, guys, like they actually do that.
It happens. It happens often.
Restart this game because too many fights in the stands.
Yeah, too many fights in the stands, right? So what's gonna happen? So I'm the referee, right? I'm refereeing this match, and sure, like Ramos, I'm using Ramos, but whatever, any player, he keeps acting egregious. He keeps doing these things, right? I tell him, I'm gonna give you a card. I'm gonna give you a card, but you might not, because you don't want to provoke some kind of a situation, right? But in the end of the day, because the card means so much. So a lot of the times, these cards that are giving out yellows and reds, they are cumulative. Over a course of the match, the referee finally says, "Okay, enough. You finally get a card."
And through tournaments too, like if you
through tournaments too, yeah.
It's kind of like in the playoffs, right? If you get, I don't know what it is in NBA, but like if you get 6 technical fouls in a playoff series, you start not being able to play the next game.
Right. Exactly. So all this stuff is there, and so I think they're trying to plug that hole and give referees something else to give to the players that is meaningful, but isn't as meaningful as giving a yellow or red. But then it kind of, I don't think it achieves that purpose. I think it's sort of, first of all, it's a humongous penalty to take a player out for 10 minutes. I think if it was like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe, it gives someone, and then the player can come back, right? And also don't do it in the last like 10 minutes of the half potentially, right? Where it's very impactful, very important. Don't do it then. And then also what you're going to give it for, because arguing with the ref, I think, is a very like strange one. I mean, they're saying maybe for excessive flopping or whatever, right? I like that. That probably is good, because soccer does have a flopping problem, and there's no penalty for flopping in soccer right now. Perhaps this is a good one to say, okay, hey, that was like, excessive flopping right there. We reviewed it in the VAR. You get your blue card. You get to sit out next 3 minutes. You do it again. You get, and then again, like, I don't think you should upgrade them to yellows either. Like, maybe you just give them indefinitely. Here's a power play, right? Like, here's an indefinite. Oh, you get a blue. You get a blue again. You get a blue again. You get a blue again. Until the player changes their behavior. But I just really, really don't like how it's being introduced, what it's being given for, and how much how important it is. But it's an interesting opportunity, I think, to change things, particularly, right, like with flopping, I think is good. With players that will just commit small, like many small fouls over the rest of the course of the game, definitely impacts the game 100%. But you can't, like, the ref can't give him a yellow for any particular foul. So they don't know, do I give it to him now? I give him a warning, he doesn't listen, the fans, etc. So there are reasons why how it can work. I hate the way it's being done.
Yeah, so I think, this is something that's definitely future looking. They're going to test it out in the future, and we'll see if they eventually make it into Europe. I highly doubt it, but let's see. I think that's a good point to wrap up on. We covered a lot of topics. We previewed 8 matches for you guys, gave you some value on what to bet, and we'll be back. Maybe we'll be back for the semifinals. I think this is a good test for us for soccer. And we just trying to grow our brand a little bit, expand to more sports. And now that football's over, we just saw the Kansas City Chiefs win again in one of the wildest games I've ever seen. Not really particularly, very, very interesting game until the fourth quarter. We saw 5 quarters in the Super Bowl. That was sick. But yeah, like, just want to test this out and let us know in the comments if you mess with this material. We'll come out with more. Just want to thanks Roman for coming on. For Roman and Naveen, this has been Locky Top Sports Soccer Edition. Thank you guys.
Peace.